It's been since I was born. As a really young child, I was having different experiences, not really knowing what those experiences were. And when you're a child, it's normal, so it's your experience, so it's not like it's something that's odd. I don't like to call it an abduction, it was a contact experience, and it was taken in a craft.
So last night we met with a couple who come from a lineage. Their family, many generations back, have experienced so-called UFOs and metaphysical things, and to the point where it's commonplace, and if it doesn't happen, they think there's something wrong. Well, we've kind of learned not to expect anything. We're just going to keep open-minded. We're only looking for contact with benevolent beings, higher intelligence, extraterrestrial, whatever. Just things of a higher nature. You know, I don't necessarily believe there's things of a lower nature, but if there are, I don't want anything to do with them. I like to connect with positive things, things of a higher intelligence, things that can help us. Enjoy your drive up? Yeah, we did. It's very scenic. Very scenic.
Trying to be efficient.
Okay. That's a great spot here. Yeah.
The house was very different when we bought it. We've added to it. But the previous owners, their son worked in the mines, and he'd bring home buckets and buckets of raw amethyst crystal. And which I only found out later on because I was relocating a lot of the gardens here, and I kept digging up all these amethyst crystals. And what the woman was doing, she was just planting them in the garden, all over the yard. It was just covered in amethyst crystal. So that's increased the energy amplification here as well, I'm sure. A little bit wild. It's been since I was born. As a really young child, I was having different experiences, not really knowing what those experiences were. And when you're a child, it's normal, so it's your experience, so it's not like it's something that's odd. I don't like to call it an abduction, it was a contact experience, and it was taken in a craft. And I had no reference for that at the time. That was way in the early 70s, and I didn't even know what I'd experienced. I always knew from when I was really tiny that this just wasn't all there was. I've had so many multiple experiences that, like I said, it was a normal thing. I had my own children. I prepared them in case they had anything take place in their life. It was predominantly my son that has the grandchildren here. He had a lot of experiences on his own. And of course the next generation, which is them, their experiences are way more intense than ours. So because we've all had a background with experience, we've been able to nurture and allow them their experiences pretty much, and we sort of look after each other. This is Layla and Seth. Well, we normalise it, see? It's not exceptional to them. It was only confusing when they first started, especially Seth, starting school, because he didn't understand why other kids didn't know what he knew.
It calls in all the aliens. The invisible ones with the invisible ship, they couldn't land. This invisible person was just walking along. When I was at Nan's, I saw this UFO flashing across the sky while it was moving. And we've also seen things just shooting across the sky everywhere.
And can you feel what that one does?
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
It feels like it's high up with energy that it could shoot up into space.
So it's a directional crystal?
Yeah.
And it makes a signal probably to show them where we are.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that you walked out of the door and you had to duck.
I did, sort of through the corner of my eye, big white light. and I thought it was going to hit me. And I didn't know what it was, so I just hit the ground. And then when it got up and looked around, it just was gone like that.
You weren't
It's going to happen.
expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it 4 o'clock in the morning, no.
We honestly and truly don't put any expectations on anything because it can be so different every time. It can be a very visual show. Because we're working as a group, we'll simultaneously go, can you feel that? And we feel a lot of ground activity happening, and we get a lot of psychic clairvoyant visuals attached to that, and then the next person will qualify what you've just seen. So having the group as a group consciousness, you know, and the story just goes from there pretty much.
We had like a girls' C5, and Tracy just knew. She just kept going like this with the camera. We couldn't see anything, but then when she played it back, you could see the craft coming out of the cloud. So it's just like, yeah, she's on the way.
Yeah, these ones feel like the new kind of energy. I guess like as opposed to the skulls that don't have the kind of natural clusters coming off them. These ones feel like a very ancient energy, the older ones.
Honestly, don't go and expect anything. Just open up the circle and just see what happens.
But we know they're not going to hurt us, but still, it's crazy.
I just know what I've experienced on an individual level, so I can imagine what that's going to happen to society when this becomes a more regular thing. It's huge. It's the biggest thing in the world right now. It's really what Earth needs at the moment. They're not going to come down and save us. We've got to do all the hard work ourselves, but just what this means and what we have to look forward to, it's huge.
It was moving, sideways, and it was spinning a little bit, and then it just really faded out.
It's cool to see all the phenomenon at night and that, but all the overflow effects of what contact means and where it's heading, that's what's really important to me.
Unreal.